Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here today to persuade you to give up $25 million for an investment in a unique project. It's a feature film, and it's one that I've written myself. The title of the project is The Willow Tree, and The Willow Tree is the Hollywood-Bollywood crossover vehicle that everyone in the industry is looking for. Now, in the last century, American cinema has been dominant, but what you may not know is that the Indian film industry is actually the largest in the world in terms of movies made and bums on seats. And now that India is becoming a superpower, if we can get these two audiences together, the potential is huge. So what is the Willow Tree? Well, at the basic simple level, the Willow Tree is a baseball to cricket movie. In America, baseball is the national game. We've seen the movies. There have been songs, there have been TV programs, there have been comic books. It's massive in America. But what you may not, well, if any of you know anything about India, what you will know is that in India they are absolutely nuts about cricket. So, on that level, a baseball to cricket movie is a no-brainer if you want to get these two audiences together. Or maybe not, because if it were that easy, surely it would have been done already by now. And the main challenge is, how do you sell cricket to an American audience? And that's all part of the narrative challenge. I'll come back to that in a moment, but let's just deal with the money for a second. 2 years ago, a film came out called Slumdog Millionaire. Fantastic film. It cost $15 million to make, and it took $362 million worldwide. $142 million of which was actually earned in the United States. So the potential is there, but Slumdog Millionaire is actually a very difficult film to replicate, and it's not a genre in itself. So let's just look at a genre that's easily defined, and that's the baseball movie. In 1984, Robert Redford starred in a film called The Natural. It cost $28 million to make, and it took $48 million at the box office. In 1989, Kevin Costner starred in a film called Field of Dreams. I don't know how much it cost to make, but I do know that it took $64 million in revenue. And in 1996, Tim Robbins starred in a film called Tin Cup, and that cost $46 million to make and took $79 million at the box office. So that's pretty definable. Now, what we have here in the Willow Tree is we have a movie that half is based in India and set on cricket. I'm going to make the assumption the Indian audience is going to watch that, this big Hollywood film. Now, half the story is also baseball-ish, and the American audience would go for that, but we still come back to that main problem of how do you sell cricket to the Americans? Now, in movie marketing, the tagline is the line that supports the main title. And here's an example. Star Wars, may the force be with you. Superman, you'll believe a man can fly. Alien, in space, no one can hear you scream. It supports the main title. And what it does that by giving the emotional undercurrent of the story itself. And the audiences can get it in a second. Now, with the Willow Tree, the tagline is, everything made with love is magic. And that's the metaphor for the story, the metaphor that carries the hero on the hero's journey. So the story itself, the lead character is called Vincent. We meet him at 12 years old. He's got all the talent in the world for baseball, but he comes from a dysfunctional family. His grandfather, who was English, makes him a magic cricket bat. Now, what's magic about it? It's not magic in the sense of Harry Potter wand magic. It's magic in the sense that Grandpa made this bat with love, care, and attention to detail. So, as soon as Grandpa gives him that bat, very shortly afterwards, he dies, and we cut. We now come to Vincent, 30 years old. He's at the back end of what should have been an absolutely fantastic career in baseball, but because of all this stuff inside churning love, he fluffs it. Strike 1, 2, 3, the man is out. He's out of baseball. And while he's in his despair and he's thinking about what he's going to do, images of cricket come to him. And with this bat, which he gets hold of, he comes to England to play cricket, and then he goes to India, where cricket is the biggest show on earth. Now, when we're in India, we obviously have an Indian character that he's playing against. And that character is called Sanjay. And Sanjay's hero's journey mirrors Vincent in this respect. Anyone who knows anything about writing the story, the hero's journey always ends with an act of redemption. That is what a hero's journey is supposed to be about. And the hero's journey, the redemptive act that Vincent is seeking, he will redeem his grandfather, who was once a cricket player, but cheated when he was a young man and never got over the stigma. And then there's his father, who was basically born a good-for-nothing with a very mean spirit. So what we've got is when Vincent does his emotional journey, his redemption, he's going to redeem 3 generations of men. And the motif here is, in the biblical sense, the sins of the father. The Indian character likewise has a father-son story that also needs redemption. And through various plot shenanigans, we get to the end. And the redemption itself is they both come to realise they should both be playing just for the love of playing. And that's the story in essence. Now, I just want to come back to one final point. And that is, in the West, I'm presenting the story as a crossover vehicle. In the West, traditionally, our storytelling tradition is based on what they call the Aristotelian principle. It sounds very intellectual, but basically what it means is this. Each scene follows in all probability from the previous scene. An example, the hero is just about to get killed by the villain, and the cavalry turns up on the hill. We, the storyteller, have set up the cavalry taking off earlier on, so we, the audience, buy it. Now, traditional Indian storytelling tradition, they don't care too much about plot. They just want big emotion, they want big drama. And Bollywood itself traditionally has had the kind of stories where they just want opulence on the screen. And that's mirrored by 1930s Hollywood, where in the Great Depression, when people were poor, paradoxically, what they wanted to see on the screen was opulence. However, Indian audiences today, with a growing middle class, want more sophisticated stories, and the Indian film industry is beginning to provide those stories. And this is where the Willow Tree comes in, because we have, in the writing of it, in the writing that I've done, there are moments where these particular cultures clash. And we have to bridge the Eastern and Western storytelling tradition. Now, when we think of Bollywood films, we always automatically think of a big, brash, spectacular, camp dancing. We always automatically think of that, and there is one in the Willow Tree. And what we do is this. All the characters are at a music festival in India. There's music going on, there's song going on. They're on stage and they're on this carpet. And the carpet is a magic carpet. It rises, it takes off, it flies all the way around India. And the characters on this magic carpet wave to all the various different peoples of India while we intercut with song and dance the whole way. Now, just that point where both audiences, the American and the Indians, for different reasons, are thinking, this sucks. The world blows up, and when the dust settles, they're back there on stage like it was all just some fantastic dream. And by doing that, the filmmakers get to have a nod and a wink at the audience. And that is why, ladies and gentlemen, I am asking for $25 million to bring this film to the big screen. Thank you.
Daniel, thank you very much. I was captivated completely.